Hi guys. Yeah, I started trying to write something kind of in response to the theme of this evening, and it didn't really work, so this is what I have instead. Also, I kind of couldn't bring myself to toe English Penn's line on free speech, but you'll see, I guess. It's called Inadvertently Sexting the Cabinet, a leaky document, a pulsing fibre optic cabal. Item 1, spying is rubbish, obviously. It must be looked at from the angle of protecting the total good and safety of the nation, rather than from the perspective of individual invasion of privacy. It's important to take a balanced perspective on the issue. We see Bond slap with open hand an implausibly beautiful blonde woman, constructed as just the right combination of threat and availability, cut and thrust, whose super cute, non-specific foreign accent tells us, sick, we, sick, are allowed to get hard over the enemy if they're built just right, just for us, and we're allowed to hate the women we fuck. Drink at the disposable information source. What are you hiding under your dress? The truth will out. YouTube link hop trail passes through with the hottest Bond girls. Didn't want to Google her in a public workspace in case someone thought, as thanks or as fulfillment of his narrative arc, he gets the girl. Her true speech was unheard silence, too thick to lie well with the intended audience. Spoken over, but we all remember that bikini shot, right? And the long knife that dangles from her belt. Power is especially arousing when you wield it. Even so, I get off twice as much if I imagine the phone's tapped as if I imagine it isn't. What are you doing here? Looking for shells? No, I'm just looking. He started a family with her too, or they started a family, or he had a family back home, but he kept it secret for 10 years and the children were fathered by a false document. He is a synecdoche for the actual function of power exerted by the Western world's dream of itself. He has a magic watch which live feeds Angela Merkel's breakfast. He takes command of situations. He asserts himself on the world stage, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. Item 2, the state is rubbish. Explanatory subheading, but not in the neoliberal, low-tax, stand your ground, an Englishman sits home is his sick castle way. The fuckers stole liberty from the anarchists anyway. Moment of self-professed sincerity, or the opposite of that, or whatever. Self-ownership is self-slavery requiring brutal cleavage, as in, I take orders from no one but myself, and only I can listen into my phone calls, and I better do as I say, not say anything I might regret overhearing, since I have the power to intern myself indefinitely, and don't think I won't cut my fucking balls off if I step out of line. I've seen my browser history, and I've been flagellating for it, used a proxy but caught myself in the act, and had to flagellate again for enjoying it. Oh, that is, I wish to own myself about as much as I wish to own a lover, an utterance, or the sea. Or I wish to own myself as much as I wish to rent a holiday home to myself on the lock side and get a nice little retirement egg for it and read Spencer there in my leisure time, dozing. Or I wish to own myself as much as I wish to own the means of production. Or, well, you get the picture. A nice one too, with rolling hills, grazing sheep, no trace of the title deed I wrote myself, or the clearances, or the forest for that matter, and the local shepherd looks happy and real, but only because I gave it to you, and only because I was generous enough to give it to myself. Sorry, what I meant was, got cookies at en.wikipedia.org/wiki/national personification. The nation state is Athena, patron, protector, virgin, warrior. She is an alabaster statue, all our mother, vulnerable girl. She is an everyman. Hibernia clutches tight Britannia's arm. Her left leg slips from beneath her dress. In flustered retreat, she pants. Oh, my dear sister, what are we to do with these troublesome people? Britannia pulls her closer, rears up. She will shield her sister from the brutes she reluctantly houses. Meanwhile, Kathleen, ducked into a tavern to find succour a moment, has a drink with the local boys, rousing their vigour, go out to the brawl, her relief, returning youth and beauty. Zay Pavino, John Bull, and Uncle Sam walk into the bar. Zay begins to sing, E de Padre Adios to the EBU, Tu vieste en flor, hoy tu desvolai, and the forgotten final verse. Out of this very contradiction between the interests of the individual and that of the community, the latter takes an independent form as the state. Bull, gulping his bitter, exactly like me, or you, booms, How long are you going on making that noise outside? Till you let me in, John. Uncle Sam has been pretending not to listen, and mutters under his breath. He thinks mostly on his little lady Columbia, when he watched her spank the senator, but these days he generally holds the whip himself. Item 3. free speech is and or is not rubbish and B, controversial, or it is a totem. True stories. The last time I argued about free speech, it was with my body, with David Willits, and ironically, or the structural power of controlling information exchange operates differently depending on direction of movement. The difference between having the power to be heard and not having the power not to, or only to be heard as a data stream and or potential prisoner. Like, we didn't want to listen to what he had to say. The last time I argued about free speech, it was with the security guard, with my body, and its advocate was Marine Le Pen. Were I to be overheard talking about, for example, the poem, or my most private thoughts transcribed and lineated, in shorthand bound for posterity, logarithms for siftable data, I would describe its process as a sickening, within a rhetorical scenario that allowed me to disown the pun as I still utter it and collect its piffling dividends. We must, after all, maintain plausible deniability. Total irony, principled, ambiguity, official speech. My speech is free, officer. Hold my individual liberty. Won't you take it from me? Full transparency of secrets. All open discussion decried in private. Only when the discourse stops listening to us, we overwhelm our masters with sincerity alone. We must have a revolution of free and open debate. Sick, sick, sick. Thank you.